Imagine waking up each day, feeling like you're fighting an uphill battle against a mountain of distractions and obstacles looming before you. The alarm clock blares like a harsh reminder of all the habits you've been trying to break but haven't quite conquered yet. If you ever wondered why breaking bad habits feels like climbing Everest with a backpack full of bricks, then let me share a personal story. There was a time when I couldn't go a day without scrolling through social media for hours. It felt impossible to break free from it, the endless loop of notifications and updates. But one day, I decided to take control and deleted the social media apps from my phone for some time. Yes, it felt a bit lonely at first, but I replaced that habit with reading books. The reward was much greater than I expected. Each book felt like having a personal mentor, and the knowledge I gained was invaluable, all for just a few bucks. And that's when I noticed something important. We all have that nagging habit, a persistent shadow that follows us despite our best efforts to shake it off. It's like trying to escape quicksand. You struggle, but the more you fight, the deeper you sink. What follows are the 4 key steps to understanding and breaking a bad habit. Understanding habits. Let's break down how a habit forms and understand what makes it tick. When we initially engage in a behavior and find it enjoyable, our brain releases dopamine, which encourages us to repeat it. Over time, the pleasure diminishes and the behavior becomes automatic. This shift occurs because our brain starts using the endocannabinoid system, a group of molecules that help regulate various functions like mood, appetite, memory, and to maintain balance. This system functions differently from the dopamine system, as the dopamine system is primarily involved in rewarding our habits. To tackle our habits, we first need to understand the habit loop: cue, routine, reward. Think of it as a pattern that repeats like a catchy tune you can't get out of your head. The cue triggers your habit, which could be stress, boredom, or a particular time of day. The routine is the behavior that follows the cue, and the reward is the payoff that keeps you coming back for more. This loop keeps you hooked, like a movie with a cliffhanger that demands you hit play on the next episode. When we attempt to change a habit, we often rely on our frontal lobes, responsible for self-control and decision-making. However, since habits are rooted in pleasure, breaking them becomes difficult because it lacks the fun or reward we initially experienced. Breaking the loop. Now, imagine this loop as a well-trodden path in a forest. The more you walk it, the more defined it becomes. When you try to create a new path, it's difficult and uncomfortable at first. Your brain resists because it loves the ease and familiarity of the old route. This is why we need to start by replacing the old path by creating a new positive path to replace the old one. Identify a new routine that fulfills the same need as your old habit, but in a healthier way. If stress makes you reach for junk food or scrolling through social media, try replacing that habit with something more creative. Pick up a sketchbook and start doodling, or try a brisk walk. It's about finding a substitute that still gives you that sense of reward but without the negative side effects. The key to breaking a habit isn't about erasing it, but rewiring the loop by altering the routine while maintaining the same cue and reward. The real battle. In our effort to break bad habits and build new ones, we face a real battle against our brain's deeply ingrained patterns. This is why slipping back into old habits feels almost inevitable. To win this battle, we need to build new pathways with the same consistency and effort that established the old ones. It's about repetition, repeatedly choosing the new behavior until it becomes the new default. And while setbacks are part of the process, you're not starting from scratch. You're learning and adapting to them. In our quest to break bad habits and build new ones, we engage in a profound internal struggle. Habits are more than just actions. They are deeply embedded in our identity and daily routines. This internal battle requires more than just conscious effort. It demands emotional resilience and a shift in self-perception. To overcome this, start by recognizing and acknowledging the emotional triggers that reinforce old habits. Instead of merely focusing on behavior change, work on understanding and addressing these underlying emotional needs. Practice self-compassion and patience, as progress may be slow and nonlinear. Each time you successfully choose a new behavior, no matter how minor, it reinforces your new identity, boosts your confidence, and builds momentum, making the battle a little easier each day. Building awareness. By paying attention to the habit without trying to resist it, you begin to break its hold. This approach works because when we act with awareness, we shift from autopilot to using a different part of our brain. It's like making a small but crucial change in how we interact with our habits. This process is scientifically backed. Addiction and habits are often driven by a lack of awareness. Recognize the changes you've made and the positive impact on your life, because sometimes you might need to adjust your approach or try new techniques. The journey to breaking a habit is dynamic, with twists and turns, and force ourselves to grow a little. Experiment with different strategies until you find what works best for you and be open to change and ready to adapt. This flexibility will keep you engaged and motivated. Remember, resilience isn't about never falling. It's about rising each time you do. With that being said, thank you for watching, and share your own stories, insights, and challenges in the comments below. Subscribe for more tips on creating positive change in your life, and don't miss out on my future video. From dreading to loving hard work, my mental shift